Hey plugin, it's Matt here. A new day brings new challenges, and today we're going to be installing a baby gate. Now this is the first of a few baby gate reviews I'm going to be doing. This one is the Summer Extra Tall Gate in bronze. It's a pressure mounted or hardware mounted, so you can choose between whether you want to mount based on pressure or just on hardware. And I've started opening up the box and emptying everything out there. Got the gate in the background here. We're going to install at the top of the stairs. Now, I just took our baby gate down over the weekend, so my daughter's probably going to be a little bit surprised that I'm putting another one up, but not to worry, Charlotte. You don't have to live with this one forever. Let's get started. So before we do get started, and before I start taking the gate out of the box, I just wanted to talk about the two different install options. So as I mentioned, you can pressure mount or you can hardware mount. Now pressure mounting just requires you to take these little caster things here, put them at the bottom and top of the gate, and then keep screwing the little widget here until it mounts to the wall solely based on pressure, a lot like you would install, say, a shower curtain rod. Otherwise, you can also do hardware mounting, which requires you to do the same pressure mounting, but you can also install with these things here.
When you're hardware mounting a gate, you've got to take those little bases that I've got in my hand there and drill holes and screw these into your walls. Following that, you would pressure mount the gate to those. For the purpose of this installation demo, I won't be doing that, but I'm going to show you the sort of after effects of a wall that's had a hardware mounted baby gate so you can see what it endures during and after the mount. One thing of note, if you do install this at the top of the stairs, most places recommend that you must hardware mount the gate for the best position of safety given your child and the fact that they'll be putting weight on it. I'll demonstrate near the end of the video what happens if you just pressure mount at the top of your stairs.
So quite honestly, installation on a gate for something like this is pretty easy. You've got the door there on the left, and you've got the extenders there on the right. Now this all just comes together with pressure basically. So what we're going to do is, once you've measured out how wide the opening is, because you don't really need all of those, it goes from 28 inches to 48 inches for an opening. You're basically going to take these and you're going to slot them into the top and bottom of slot the rods into the top and bottom, and then you're going to connect them to the door. And then once that's done, you take these and you put them at the top and bottom of the end pieces and you screw them in together. So the whole installation should probably only take you about 10 or 15 minutes. And I'm just going to show you how I install it at the top of the stairs. Alright, so I've brought everything up the stairs here. I'm just going to do the pressure mount today. I'm not actually going to be doing the hardware mount, but I do want to show you a couple things. So here's our old gate that we took apart over the weekend, and we had actually hardware mounted it. Now, one thing I quickly wanted to show you is that if you do hardware mount it, this summer gate actually comes with some adhesive, so you might see this actually happen a little bit more often with a gate like the summer one, but our old one didn't have adhesive, and it still stripped the paint when we took it off the walls here, no matter how much I tried. And the reason why I found that to be is that this is actually positioned directly in the path of sunlight, so I'm guessing that over time things just sort of melded into the wall there, and so no matter how much I tried, I did have that problem. Just wanted to give you a fair warning and a heads up that that is a possible peril of hardware mounting your gates. Now, one other thing I quickly wanted to show you here, excuse the dirty carpet, is that in the 18 months we had our gate up, it actually flattened the carpet here a little bit, so that gate line is going to be a little bit of an eyesore once you take your gate down, but again, probably just temporary. This will probably bounce back and it'll be fine within a couple weeks. So kind of the last step you want to take before you start to physically install it is to measure out how wide your opening is here. As I mentioned, this can cover openings from 28 to 48 inches, and so your stairways and doorways are probably going to fall somewhere in between. I know Canada's Worst Handyman tells you not to do the eyeball test, but you know what? It's a pressure mount with a bunch of little pins. You can probably get away with doing the eyeball test and do just fine of an installation. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take one of these and thread it through into the gate. This will be one of my edges. One thing I did find going through this, and I don't know how well the video is going to show this, let's just see if I can get that there, is that it's not actually pre-threaded, so whether you go through what you consider to be the top or the bottom, it doesn't really matter. There aren't any pre-threaded holes, so basically you're just going to be pushing it in and then working it out the other way. So I'm going to thread it here and then put an extension pin here, and then we'll do that for the other sides and start the tension mount after that. Okay, so I've got the gate basically put together now, and we're just going to take it out to the wall. Actually, I've got to install that last tension peg there. And one thing that I'm just going to call notice to here is that as you're putting the door on, you're going to find that the door doesn't close and doesn't open. Now, it's not a product defect as it says on the label. It is actually as intended, and as you continue to add tension and screw the gate into the wall, you'll find that the door closes and it sort of inches in that way until it finally snaps on the lock. Alright, so as you can see by all four corners there, we've got the gate set up, and you know that everything was working properly when you flick the latch here and lift the door and it opens. It also snaps shut with springs. Now, one thing that I quickly just wanted to talk about is that I just did this for the purpose of demonstration at the top of the stairs. Just a reminder that if you are going to mount this gate at the top of the stairs, you do need to use the hardware mounts for it. Consumer Reports as well will tell you that it's not actually safe enough to do just a pressure mount. See, the gate's moving a little bit as I put weight on it. Chances are your child won't be putting as much weight on it as I am, but always good to be safe. Just one other note as well is that if you tend to tense this too much, and I'm just going to loosen it a little bit here. As you can see, it's loosening. Now, if you tense it too much, you can go too far and you can actually make this gate inoperable. So I'm going to do that. As I tighten it up, you see it's closing in. And what this will do is it will actually make the gate impossible to open. So you'll be able to do this, but you won't be able to pull the door open because the peg has nowhere to move. So you've got to loosen it a little bit and just test it out until you've got it in the right spot. One thing while tensing this up, by the way, the product does come with this really weird looking wrench, and it took me a little while to figure out how this actually worked. Now, the tensing pieces actually have openings here, so you're technically supposed to put the wrench in like this and then tighten and loosen as you need. Again, I don't think you're going to need it. I was able to put this whole gate together without touching the wrench, using my hands to hand tighten and to hand loosen. Just keeping in mind that if you do actually tense it too much, you're not going to be able to open this gate. So you're probably not even going to need the wrench, but it's nice to know it's there just in case you do. So once again, if you are going to pressure mount this, it should only take about 10 or 15 minutes, but once again, don't do it at the top of the stairs, do it at the bottom of the stairs or in a hallway. If you are going to do this at the top of the stairs, you will need to use the hardware brackets and make sure that it is hardware mounted. But just be aware of what I mentioned before. Be careful around the fact that there is adhesive on the back and it might strip the paint once you're done with this in a couple of years. But again, what's a coat of paint to keep your baby safe? This was the Summer Extra Tall walk-through gate with the spring-loaded latch. This is just the first of a couple baby gates you're going to see me do over the next little while, so check back often and you'll see a few different types. I'm Matt. Just follow the channel here for more baby reviews and tech reviews, and we'll be back next time. Take care. Hey plugin, it's Matt here. A new day brings new challenges, and today we're going to be installing a baby gate. Now this is the first of a few baby gate reviews I'm going to be doing. This one is the Summer Extra Tall Gate in bronze. It's a pressure mounted or hardware mounted, so you can choose between whether you want to mount based on pressure or just on hardware. And I've started opening up the box and emptying everything out there. Got the gate in the background here. We're going to install at the top of the stairs. Now, I just took our baby gate down over the weekend, so my daughter's probably going to be a little bit surprised that I'm putting another one up, but not to worry, Charlotte. You don't have to live with this one forever. Let's get started. So before we do get started and before I start taking the gate out of the box, I just wanted to talk about the two different install options.